Hi, everyone. Welcome to this edition of PGTips. I'm Gary in Stockholm.
Hi everyone. I'm Paul in Barnsley. We were really pleased to do that previous session with the Procreate and Photoshop tips. And we got some interesting comments back, Gary, didn't we? So we do know that we're doing something useful for people, as well as just for me and you, because you and I are exploring and discovering these new things that we're using each time.
Exactly. Yeah, it's fun to see how you use the different tips and menus and stuff like that. And also, I know that when I've been doing things and showing you, you've been like, oh wow, this is something I haven't tried before. So it's really nice to do that.
It is, and they're not just novelty. One or two of them could be novelty, but I think they're really practical. So we're going to start this session in case, I didn't know how to record my iPad when we started doing this. I had to look up and find out the best way to record the iPad. So our first tip is, if you want to do the same, this is how you go onto your iPad, open the settings and do it like this. So this is our first tip. First of all, for those wondering about how to record your iPad screen, as me and Gary are doing for these tips, go to your iPad home screen, touch settings, go down left underneath general to control center, and at the top set of instructions, the fifth one down is screen recording. Make sure that is turned on. And then when that is turned on, you will see, if you stroke down from the top right, you will see there's a red button, and this is actually recording now. So that's where you start your screen recording and where you stop it.
Great, Paul. I didn't actually know how to do record the iPad, the screen as well. I knew how to record like the drawing that you're doing in Procreate. Maybe we could use that as a tip, but I didn't actually know exactly how to map that, especially to my quick menu and stuff like that. So that was helpful. Thank you.
And it's a nice clean recording as well. You take into iMovie and edit the beginning and the ending of it. But you've got an even more practical tip now, Gary, and I've learned something when you've told me about this. So let's watch yours. What's it going to be? Gesture controls?
Exactly. It's how to use the quick menu system. There's a quick menu system on Procreate. So let's take a look at how to use it.
Okay.
Here's my Procreate tip. It's working with quick menus. First thing we do is go to our little toolbox and press the Preferences button. And you'll see around 2/3 of the way down, Gesture Controls. Once you click on Gesture Controls, a new menu will come up and you'll have a lot of different options here. Everything from general settings to how the hover function works, selecting layers and so forth. We're going to make our way to the quick menu selection. When we click on quick menu, I take the touch function there, the second one down, finger touch, and that allows me to just press anywhere on the screen with my finger as opposed to the pen, and up comes my menu. So we'll see that in a second. Now I'm going back to our window, and you can see I just pressed in the center of the screen with my finger, and up the quick menu comes up. And then I can map the different functions in the way that I want them. So for instance, you can see now that I'm choosing different brushes. I've mapped different brushes to those first two on the left. In the center, in the middle, I put my eraser. Underneath is paint, so I move easily between painting and erasing, and it remembers the last brush I've selected. I can put on my drawing assist, and then one thing that I use a lot is also the flip horizontally function, which is really useful to see how the picture that you're working on looks from the opposite point of view. And here I'm just showing you basically that you can map almost all of the different functions to these menus. And there are quite a few to choose from. And you can even choose the specific brushes. As you see, I have my two favorite brushes on the left-hand side. But you can change and map anything that you think is important. You can also have more than one quick menu. So for instance, I'm adding here menu 2, and then when I click on menu 2, there are no actions associated with them. And I'll just show you how quick and easy it is to map a particular function to that. I chose paint there, and if I click on the paint, then all of a sudden my little cursor will move to paint. I chose open the color panel on the left. In the center now I'm going to choose Another menu item, previous brush, and that can be really useful too if you have if you're working quickly and you want to switch between brushes. Reference is really interesting, and we'll do another section on reference later and how to use that. And you can see within just a few moments, I'm choosing different functions that I'd like to have in my menu, my quick menu. And if I click on reference, then all of a sudden I'm able to open the reference panel. There's the color panel. All I did was click on the quick menu, and then I can choose my brush. I can choose between quick menu 1 and quick menu 2. There's the transform tool, showing how I can easily move into transform. If you're doing a lot of resizing and stuff like that, you might want to dive into that. And that's it. It's easy to map these functions to the quick menu tool and then to use it as you want to and build up menus. So if you happen to like working with gestures, it's quite a nice way to work.
Well, that was excellent. I mean, I've wasted so much time going up and choosing different brushes. And I knew that somewhere hidden in there, you could store your favorite brushes for quick access. So that is fantastic. I'm going to be using that one. And the reference panel as well. And flipping horizontal. Just this morning, I've been working on something and I've gone a long way around of flattening the image, saving a JPEG, pasting it back into my image and flipping it. Because you do need to check your image forwards and backwards. You can check for inconsistencies. So having that as a quick menu, and you can have more than one quick menu, you say?
Yeah, so you can like stack up the quick menu. So you could have like quick menu 1 could just be your favorite brushes, you know, I think 2, 4, 6, 8 brushes easily. Then you could have a second menu, and that could be some of those functions like the flip canvas or whatever. I just have 2 favorite brushes in my flip canvas. Those are the main ones that I use quite often.
Yeah, because at the top of the brush menu, you get the stack of all the different brushes, including recent brushes. But then if you work on 1 or 2 new brushes and new textures, they disappear from that recent set. So having them just a finger's touch away is fantastic. Wow. It's excellent. I'm learning new stuff all the time. You see Procreate tips on Instagram or wherever, or there is a really good handbook that comes with Procreate. If you go up to the help section, there's an online tutorial and you're going back to learn about things. But there's so much to keep in mind. And we don't need every one of these, do we? It's just to make your workspace as functional and as practical as possible. So we're going to finish with another one of mine, which is a very small one. And it is about making small adjustments, moving elements of your image across the screen. You can pick it up with your pencil, pick it up with your finger, move it around. But if you want really tiny increments, if you zoomed in for accurate placement, there's a very simple tip. And this is it. This is a very quick tip for moving selections in small increments in Procreate. Let's zoom into this frog's eye, and as you can see, the frog's right eye is not looking at the caterpillar. So we can select it and drag and move it around the image, and if we're not quite sure where it wants to go, just tap with your finger outside the box wherever you want it to go. If I zoom in a little bit more, you'll see that it's moving to the right. If I tap below it, it's moving down. If I tap above it, it's moving up, and that moves it in very tiny increments, which I believe you can change in the Procreate settings. Tap it to the left, it moves to the left, and you can just tap it until it moves perfectly into position. This just gives you so much more control over those fine adjustments.
Paul, thanks for that, because, you know, especially with like moving the eyes around, I think that's really super important, because small adjustments can make a big difference, and being able to micro adjust just by tapping on the side or the bottom of it and it makes it move just incrementally is super helpful. So thank you.
It is often the eyes that I play around with, because you do a pencil sketch, scan it in, and then when you're working on it, you realize there's not quite that connection between these 2 characters. And it's because the eye just needs slightly moving or make it slightly bigger. So that's an easy control. I have just thought of one final tip to finish with today, quite literal. When I first started using the Apple Pencil, it tells you when it's running out of battery, of course, so you can plug it in and charge it up. But mine still wouldn't work after charging the first couple of times I used it. And I thought, what on earth is this? Thought it was broken. So I searched online and someone just said, make sure that your tip is screwed in tightly. on your Apple Pencil. If it works its way loose while you're working, it'll look like it's out of charge. Simple thing like that, I hadn't realized.
Small things sometimes, right?
Yep.
Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you at the next edition of PGTips.
Yep, we'll do some more of these from time to time. Watch out for them. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye. That was good.